Philly cheese steak, as chock full of beef, cheese, and grease as the city that bears its name. I love Philly, okay? Everybody knows I'm a huge Flyers fan. Hockey, right? Is that hockey? They're known for so many great things. They got the Philly cheesesteak, they got Rocky, they got the Liberty Bell, I guess it's broken. Ben Franklin? If you think that I've insulted Philadelphia, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm sorry ahead of time, but this is 10 levels of Philly cheesesteak. A big thank you to Cook Unity for sponsoring this episode. Cook Unity continues to be my go-to meal while editing an episode, taking a break from filming, or just craving something delicious and healthy on a weeknight. You should have Cook Unity meals ready to grab in your fridge for a fast and delicious meal in the middle of a busy day. You get restaurant quality meals by award-winning chefs delivered fresh to your door. Today I'm eating the bacon, egg, and cheese quiche by Chef Miriam Millard before I start filming. Head to the link in the description now to try Cook Unity and get 50% off your first order of chef-made meals delivered fresh to your door. Use code Babish and try it out.
Is Flavortown a place you'd like to visit?
I would not travel to Flavortown right now. According to the U.S. Travel Advisory website, you should proceed with caution as there is civil unrest. There is a lack of indoor plumbing. The water itself is diarrhea. And on top of that, the food scene is just not what it used to be. Level 1 cheesesteak. Where exactly is the bottom of the barrel in terms of a cheesesteak experience? Well, I can tell you firsthand, it's this right here. Guy Fieri's Flavortown Super Melty Philly Cheesesteak Tots Bowl. I recently tried this as part of a frozen dinner ranking over on the Beyond Babish channel, and I awarded it a commensurate score with its quality, that being a 1. It only got a 1, not a 0, because the cheese sauce wasn't that bad. But everything else was, I won't say a crime, but a misdemeanor at least. There are no oven directions. If you want crispy tater tots, suck my ass. There's only microwave directions. Right away, I can tell you the tater tots might as well be mashed potato. Look at the way that's coming apart. If you look at this package, it features pieces of actual beef. And if you look closely at this, you'll see that the steak bits are pressed and formed like steakums. The flavor, really all you taste is the cheese sauce, and it's not bad. It tastes like a Velveeta Rotel queso. The textures are unforgivable. The tater tots are ridiculous. I don't know whose idea it was to put tater tots in an enclosed bowl to be microwaved. It is an absolute crime against Philly, against cheese, and against steaks. There you are, level 1 Philly cheesesteak, about as low as it goes.
Now, I know the whole thing's wrapped up in nostalgia, but if you had to pick a favorite part of the Hot Pocket, what would it be?
It's a weird question. But if I had to pick my favorite part, it is the thing that it is literally wrapped up in, which is the crisping sleeve. It's a technological marvel, and I hope they never get rid of it. Level 2, Philly cheesesteak, specifically Hot Pockets. We're taking a step out of the completely inedible and into borderline enjoyment. I'm gonna get to feel like I'm back in high school. This doesn't come with a crisping sleeve. Does not come with crisping sleeves? Where's the crisping sleeve? Where's the crisping sleeve? There's no crisping sleeve. What am I to do? They sure do look different from when I was a boy. There's this browning and kind of a sheen to them. It says to do it in an air fryer, but come on, it's a Hot Pocket. It's going in the microwave. Okay, it's out of the microwave and we've experienced a small blowout on the side. That is to be expected. You know what you have to do with Hot Pockets? You need to let them rest, otherwise you will die an untimely death. It will burn you alive from the inside out. So I'm gonna spend this time constructively by examining the Not Brief website for why they got rid of the sleeve. More good stuff, 30% more pepperoni because they got rid of the sleeve. We're talking about pepperoni versus cardboard. This is not a one-to-one swap. Less waste, that's legit. Apparently 3,300 tons of waste saved every year from all those Hot Pocket sleeves you specifically have been eating. The way our world works is truly terrifying. So I'm not gonna dig too deep into it. I'm gonna eat this Hot Pocket. Very little in terms of stuff that isn't cheese. Not a complaint, really. The beef cannot be any better than what's going on in Guy Fieri's Tater Tots bowl, but it's chopped into little itty bitty pieces. So if it is a little chewy or whatever, it's basically pre-chewed for you. As far as level 2s go, big step up and a pretty high floor on how bad things can get. Would I recommend this as a Philly cheesesteak analog? Absolutely not. This is kind of its own thing. It's an appropriate level 2.
Steak, communicates deliciousness. Steak, communicates...
Steak, communicates what steak-ums communicate, which is this steak? Level 3, the hilariously named steak-ums. It sounds pensive. It sounds unsure of itself. It sounds like it's got a secret. And that secret is that it's also chopped and formed and sliced beef. It is not steak. These aren't pieces of actual steak. That's how it's so darn cheap. This is probably your cheapest option. Oh, how do you even get them apart? Wow, it's been a long time, I guess. Oh man, that is a bummer. It's just a slice of lunch meat. Look at that. And for bread, we got some of these kind of grocery store little hoagies, little sub rolls. And for cheese, of course, we're gonna use unmelted Kraft singles. Let's put in our steak. Wow, there's a lot of fat in that. Oh, what a horrible thing. I'm gonna drop these in one at a time and then kind of keep them warm. So much fat. Oof, this might need to be downgraded below Hot Buckets, I don't know. I'm gonna throw this in the microwave for just a sec so at least we have melted cheese. But there you have it, Steakums Philly cheesesteak, quote unquote. Whoa! A serving size of Steakums is 1 piece. That means that this sandwich is 1,170 calories before the bread and cheese, which comes out to 99 grams of fat. That is 126% of your daily value just in that beef. I'm sure a lot of it rendered out and is in the bottom of that pan right now, but I'm just looking at the nutrition facts, brother. That's awful. I'm inclined to make this the level 2. I don't know, I've changed rankings in a ranking episode before in post-production, but I don't know how we're gonna do that. I think I'll just say it. This is the real level 2. This is I'd rather have the Hot Pocket than this thing. Downgrade, level 2. Would rather have this than Guy Fieri's Bowl of Nightmares, but there's no way it's better than the Hot Pocket.
What kind of trauma did the person who invented frozen cheesesteak sandwiches have?
Well, they're a human being on Earth, so I assume that they've experienced a great deal of trauma. Trauma is not only commonplace, it's kind of essential to the human experience. And it's yielded some incredible things, great art, music, film, and frozen cheesesteaks. Next up, a complete Philly cheesesteak kit in a bag? The hell you say? But that's what this is. This is the JTM Beef Philly cheesesteak kit. 4 beef steaks sliced and shaped, 4 cheesesteak sandwich rolls, diced onions, and mozzarella cheese. Mozzarella cheese? I bet I'm gonna do a lot of things that will piss off Philadelphians in this episode. None of them will be mozzarella cheese. This beef is not chopped, processed. This is sliced steak shaped. So I think what we're gonna end up with here is actual strips of actual beef. It took us 4 levels to get there, but I think that's where we are. There's the rolls, they are pitiful. There's a big old bag of onions, and this is a bad sign when there's more onions than cheese in the Philly cheese steak. The idea that this is enough cheese for 4 cheesesteaks does bum me out. Also, I'm not sure, you either don't have an expiration date or your expiration date is wildly confusing, or this is massively expired. Because it says 2/6 and it is 2026, so that gives me some hope. But this looks a lot more like a date to me because it's a month and a year, but that is 3 years ago. There we go. Nice frozen onions. A little bit of fat coming out of this steak, not nearly as much as that horror show. Okay, there's our little beef pieces. Let's see if those look real. They're so small, it's kind of hard to tell, but I see real marbling. And add 1/4 of Defying All Logic mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna kill the heat. Just gonna throw a lid over the whole thing to just let it kind of steam, let that cheese melt. And our bread, yeah, it's hot out of the oven. Oh, maybe this is gonna be an appropriate amount of meat and cheese for this tiny little roll. Yeah, actually it looks like it is going to be maybe just right. There you have it, our level 4 cheesesteak. The first one to feature whole pieces of meat, supposedly. Definitely better than the Steakums, but like the meat has an off quality to it. There's some flavor happening there that really oughtn't to be. And this was thoroughly cooked and nicely browned. Like I got good caramelization on this. Flavor is just a little weird. I can't put my finger upon what exactly. Just a weird flavor and some unpleasant textures. So not great, but still gonna be our level 4. Level 5, an earnest attempt to make a basic Philly cheesesteak at home. We have some nice large sub rolls. This is more akin to the size of an actual Philly cheesesteak, which tends to be quite large. We have some thinly shaved beef here. A lot of grocery stores are starting to do this. Green pepper, onion, and cheese whiz. I'm not a big cheese whiz guy. This is one of the 2 options that you're given when you go to the place, and I'm not super into it. I much prefer white American deli slices. Now I should point out that as far as I know, authentic Philly cheesesteaks have no peppers. Sometimes they have onions, but that's about it. I think that green peppers are considered a little more touristy, but this is what I'm gonna do. It feels like the at-home thing to do. And I like peppers on a cheesesteak. Like in my mind, it's almost become part of the flavor profile. Next up, an extremely important step after these commercial messages.
Babish cookware. Checkmate, atheists.
We're back with an extremely important step. This is an essential part of the cheesesteak. You need the bread to basically be almost round to hold all that meat in place. There we go. There's some scooped bread. You can see it makes a cavity, a cavern, if you will. That allows us to get more in there, but also prevents any from squishing out the sides of the back. Now for a cooking surface, the old reliable cast iron griddle. That's a little bit of vegetable oil, get things started. Crank up that heat. I wanna cook the vegetables pretty immediately, get maybe a little bit of color on them, and then move on to the meat. Let's grab our steak, plop it down. You know, it's gonna be in big chunks. That's one of the unavoidable things about buying shaved steak like this, but the solution is that we're gonna chop it. And this is one of the many, many reasons why you don't wanna make a cheesesteak in a nonstick pan. All right, let's mix the peppers and onions in there, like the Hot Stone Creamery. You can't tell I've never worked at Cold Stone Creamery. I think that they just put this on after they've assembled the sandwich, but I can't tell. So I'm just gonna do, just to maximize our goo factor and make sure that it's not like a freaking disaster, I'm gonna hit the bread with a little bit of whiz. And of course, more whiz over top, don't worry. My soul's not dead yet. So one of the more important elements of sandwich craft is wrapping, something that I didn't do for way too long, and I see way too many people not wrapping their sandwiches before serving. This compresses the sandwich, puts everything together, makes sure that we don't have any big, stupid, awkward gaps or anything like that. Don't slice the aluminum. Sometimes you end up with little shreds of aluminum in there. I'm just doing it for looks. Yeah, lots of little shreds of aluminum. Okay, don't do that. Don't do what I just did. Yeah, only do that with sandwich wraps, not with freaking aluminum foil. That was stupid. Let's take a look at that cross section. Oh yeah, I tried a little bit of the beef here. It's very dry. Let's see what happens while I whiz. The crazy badass places in Philly, they're shaving whole ribeye and they're frying that up. So there's a ton of fat, ton of flavor. This is very lean, so it's pretty dry. It's tasty, but it's dry. Yeah, it's the thing you're unfortunately gonna run into whenever you buy things like shaved beef or stir-fry beef, any of those really pre-prepared pieces of beef. You're generally going to end up with lower quality beef, less fat, and it's gonna be tough. It's saving you prep, but it's gonna be tough. So it is most assuredly a cheesesteak. Like this is the first one that actually resembles and tastes like a real cheesesteak. But by getting the pre-prepared stuff, you're getting the right texture, which is very hard to achieve at home. And, you know, drown it in cheese whiz because it kind of makes the illusion that the beef is perfectly juicy. At the end of the day, it's a decent cheesesteak. Level 6, the level that begs the question, is this a cheesesteak? I'm speaking, of course, of the chicken cheesesteak, which I think should be called the cheese chicken or the cheeskin, but I'm not in charge of Philadelphia, so. Chicken cheesesteak isn't just plain chicken usually. Usually it's seasoned with like a very simple slight marinade. Sometimes they can be very saucy. I don't really like that, so I'm just gonna do like a tablespoon each soy sauce, Worcestershire, and maybe like a half teaspoon each garlic, and onion powder. Tiny whisk that together. I'm notorious for forgetting to salt my food, and luckily this soy sauce is salty as all get out, so it's probably gonna do the job. Always a generally good idea to dry brine your chicken. Just hit it with a little bit of salt and let it sit at room temp for 20, 30 minutes before we sear. Great sear on our chicken thighs. They might not even be completely cooked all the way through, it doesn't matter. We're gonna let these cool for 5-10 minutes just so we don't experience too much moisture loss when we slice them up. I don't want huge slices here, so I might cut these guys in half and then slice them this way. There we go. It's not quite shredded, but it's not quite chunks either. That looks just about right. Let's dump in our peppers and onions, drop in our chicken, and we're just trying to heat this up, get a little color on it, and of course, drop in our flavor concoction, which is just gonna give the chicken a little bit of color and a lot of bit of flavor. Going with white American cheese here. It seems to be what they use in Philly, and it is also my preferred topping. And cover it up. Heat's off. This is just to melt the cheese and make sure everybody's super nice and hot and warm and wonderful. Let's take a look. Beautiful. Cheese is nicely melted. There we go. Got a decent amount of it there. Once again, I'm calling upon Americans to do the pro thing and wrap this sandwich up. It is a big one and it needs to be glued together. I am gonna let it sit for 5 minutes or so to make sure that we get the ultimate sandwich experience. I'm not gonna cut the foil again because I'm okay with microplastics, but micrometals, I don't think so. So let's just take this off unceremoniously. It's juicy, I can see like how moist it is inside. Let's see if we can get a cool cheese stretch here. Not really, but ooh, that looks good though. That looks like a chicken cheesesteak, I'll tell you. Looks like the cheese did not protect the bread whatsoever, so do that at your own peril. There's a reason this is level 6. Does not taste of soy sauce or Worcestershire, just like a really nice savory chicken flavor. Righteous level 6, worthy level 6. Not quite a cheesesteak, but damn close. Like if you didn't eat beef, this is satisfying in a way that chicken isn't normally. That's all there's to it. It's fantastic. Worthy level 6.
If this cheesesteak is upgraded, does that mean you were sandbagging on the first two?
I guess that depends. What does sandbagging mean again?
Like you were intentionally making them worse, like being worse so that you could then come back and be better later.
Oh, yes. Yes. Level 7, an upgraded homemade Philly cheesesteak that at least starts to resemble the ones from the shop. The biggest barrier to entry for Philly cheesesteaks at home is shaving the steak really thin. And when you get it from the grocery store, it can be tough, it can be dry. So how do we get steak really thin without, going out and buying a deli slicer? The answer, I think, lies in the mandolin. You can get these for not very much. That leads us to the other question, what kind of beef to use? We need something not only widely available and inexpensive, but something that'll fit on a very narrow mandolin. I think there's only one answer. I have here some beautiful skirt steak, but it is very, very, very tough if it isn't eaten or sliced correctly. You've got an extremely strong grain structure here, and if you try to slice it with the grain, it's gonna be the equivalent of eating a meaty rope. But if you slice across the grain, you're basically pre-chewing the meat for yourself, and isn't that delicious? Isn't that what we wanna do? So I'm gonna wrap this up in plastic wrap and wrap it really, really tight. I wanna compress these together as much as possible. And I'm gonna put this in the freezer, not until it's completely frozen, because then it'll be very hard to slice, but until it's quite firm, probably at least an hour. Oh yeah, that's doing it. Moral of the story being, lightly freeze your meat. Don't get it completely solid. If you do, let it thaw for a couple hours in the fridge, so it's really, really firm, but not totally frozen. And run it through a mandolin. Beautifully shaved steak, perfect for our cheesesteak. If you've never been to Philly, this is why you haven't tried Philly cheesesteak, because it's so hard to get the beef right. Now for the bread, and if you want to go super authentic, you got to go to the source. What we have here is Amoroso's bread and rolls. These guys are a Philly-based bakery that makes the quintessential Philly cheesesteak roll. I got these from a restaurant supply store. I'm gonna let this guy defrost completely, slice them open, scoop them, toast them, fill them, eat them. So I'm gonna use green and red bell peppers. I know it's not super authentic of me, but there's two very important reasons why I'm using them. I like them, and you can't stop me. But I'm also busting out the new hotness. This is a prototype I had the boys upstairs dream up. This is a cast iron griddle. As you can see, there's a very, very thin rim. This is perfect for searing burgers, cheesesteaks and the like. But also, if you flip it over, it is completely flat and it becomes a pizza steel. It is so big that you need to use it over a very large burner or you need to preheat it in the oven. So I'm gonna throw this in a 500 Fahrenheit oven for 10, 20 minutes. Got our peppers and onions. Here comes our beef. Flip it over, make sure everybody's getting a good sear on it. I'm doing white American on the meats because I think it's the best choice for a cheesesteak topping in terms of texture and minimal flavor, but I also do want to acknowledge the value of provolone on the inside of the bread. Hopefully insulate it from some of the juices. Oh, nice. This is a restaurant-style sandwich wrapper. You can get these online. Basically, you've got a layer of parchment paper and a layer of aluminum foil to keep things toasty. All right, it's been 5 minutes. Let's see how our Philly-style Philly cheesesteak has fared. Ooh, ho, 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 ho. That's a juicy cheesesteak. It's almost like a Chicago beef. It's so juicy, it's dripping because it's such fatty, rich meat. There's no way this is gonna come out dry. Even if you overcook it, it's still gonna be pretty juicy. I don't even think we can get much higher, but we have to try. So, on to level 8.
Bradley Cooper has Oscar nominations. Why does he also get to have a legendary cheesesteak spot?
Well, I think because life is foundationally unfair. It's something you discover as you get older and it grows more and more true with each passing year. And you look at a guy like Bradley Cooper and you're like, that's unfair that he hasn't actually won any Oscars. Level 8, how do you improve an already upgraded, really, really good homemade cheesesteak? You go to the shop and you get one. Specifically, in New York City, the best cheesesteak you're gonna get is from Danny and Coops. This, of course, is the famous collaboration between Bradley Cooper and D'Angelo's, largely considered to be the best Philly cheesesteak in Philly, even though I like D'Alessandro's a little better. And here's the thing, I just went out and got this. I drove an hour and a half to get it from Alphabet City in Manhattan. Brought it back here, it was a little cooled off from the drive, so I threw it in a low oven, and I forgot about it for a while. So, it's gonna be a little over toasted. The bread's probably gonna be crustier than it's meant to be. I haven't even looked at this thing yet. Oh, didn't even blink when I almost ruined it in the oven. It's like, nope, I'm made by Bradley Cooper. It is properly gooed out. The roll feels great. It's like nice and crusty and firm, but you can tell that it's gonna give. Oh boy, perfectly seasoned. The bread is just right. Like it's nice and soft and yielding, but has a great crusty exterior, probably even greater because of its stint in the oven. A symphony of meat and a very worthy level 8 because the fact is, unless you put a lot of time and effort into it and money, you're not gonna be able to make a Philly cheesesteak as good as this at home.
Does making a Korean-style cheesesteak make the people of Philly more or less angry?
I'm guessing more, but also it's not my problem because I have a very special guest to help me with this next cheesesteak. All right, so for this level, not only do I want some inventiveness on the Philly cheesesteak format, I want some professional help, something I think we can all agree I desperately need. So here to help me is the chef and owner of the one and only Mission Sandwich Social, Chef Brian Sau.
What an intro, my goodness, thank you.
One try, you're not
right.
seeing any cuts in there.
Take.
None of those
One
little
take.
stupid bumps like push-ins that are clearly covering up for YouTubers' problems.
I was not standing there for half an hour, not at all.
So your restaurant is Mission Sandwich Social.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Restaurant, sandwich shop, potato. Mission Sandwich Social has now been open for, proudly say, 4 years now. It is a place where I can really spread my wings as a chef because I can do pretty much any type of cuisine I want, put it in between 2 slices of bread, and guess what? I'm home for dinner every night, so.
What are you gonna do today to a Philly cheesesteak?
We're gonna make some Philly people real mad
I was gonna
today.
say, how many people you're gonna offend? Let's go
You know what?
hard.
The more, the better. We're making a Korean-style Philly cheesesteak, and we're gonna use a very special bulgogi recipe because not only is this the bulgogi recipe that you can taste at my place, Mission Sandwich Social, but it's also the one I used to beat Bobby Flay. All right, that's right.
Well, if there's one group of people that you want mad at you, it is Philadelphia. I'm going to be here as your Sue if you need anything.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm going to be behind the camera talking to you the whole time.
All right.
And distracting you from the very important work that you're doing.
Let's do this.
Thank you so much for coming.
All right. I'm going to show you guys the amazing art of cutting gochu. And if you guys didn't know, gochu is the word in Korean for chili, but it's also the word in Korean for penis. And when I say penis, I mean cock. I guess in Korea, that's what they look like. I'm only half Korean, so mine only looks half like this. This is Korean brown rice vinegar. This is unremarkable brown sugar along with unremarkable kosher salt. We do not want to bring this to a boil. We want to heat it up until the sugar and salt is dissolved. It's a quick pickle. You put in the pickling liquid hot, it's gonna pickle much faster. Marinade time, my famous bulgogi marinade that I learned from my mom. Same recipe I used to beat Bobby Flay, same recipe that you can try at Mission Sandwich Social. And it starts with unremarkable brown sugar. Soy sauce. Oh no, red wine. I confused this red wine for soy sauce, but guess what? There is soy sauce in this recipe, and we're gonna put that in there. I know in my reaction videos, I say all the time, water is the enemy of flavor, but in this case, there's so much flavor, you need to add the water in there. So we're gonna put some water into this marinade. Sesame oil, I think, is one of the signature flavor profiles of Korean cuisine. Garlic, very important. Some onion. My mom's secret ingredient is pineapple juice, and I think my mom didn't really know what she was doing other than she knew pineapples are fruity and tropical and sweet, but pineapples contain something called bromelain, which is an amazing tenderizer. So that actually contributes to your beef turning out a lot more tender. We're just gonna whisk this, and guess what? We're done, and now we move on to slicing some beef. Don't break eye contact. Then get your hands in there. This will go into the fridge. We're gonna make confit, so we're gonna fancy up this scallion. We only want to use the white segment, because if you try to confit this green segment here, it will singe and burn and be very bitter. We don't want that. We also don't want to cut it too small. I'm kind of like quartering it. This is going to shrink down a lot. We are gonna use dry aged beef tallow. We're gonna melt this down, turned off the heat, letting the residual heat take it oh man. White segments of scallion. It's gonna go in the oven.
Oh, your oven confit.
Pot.
Oh.
You can see it's already wilting down, so it's pretty warm. And just kind of let it sit.
Wow, those really did shrink.
Yep. Let's prep the pear salad. Don't waste this. This is good stuff. Now we submerge this in ice water. It's gonna remove some of the intense alkalinity that is the signature bite that some people don't like from onions. Got some cold water. We're gonna squeeze some lemon into there.
So the reason I came over here on camera is to ask you what role Asian pear plays in marinades and bulgogi, because when I've eaten them on their own, they're extremely plain taste.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you've had really Asian pear.
That answers my question, thank you.
But now I'm worried about this Asian pear. Scallion's nice and curly now. This is how you get onto Top Chef. So,
sorry, what is that?
I'm sorry, gochugaru. Dried Korean chili flake. Touch of salt.
Gochugaru is quite mild.
Yes,
right?
it is mild. A little more lemon juice. Okay, just a touch of sesame oil. All right, salad done.
That looks fantabulous. Tell me a little bit about what went into developing this Dutch crunch.
Well, I started planning Mission Sandwich Social during the pandemic after I was let go from my job. And while everybody was trying to make sourdough for the first time, I decided to make Dutch crunch. Now, I can't tell you what the secret is, or I'll go to your house and end you. But there is a paste, it's rice flour. Rice flour paste, you brush it on top. It is a soft sweet roll. Despite the name, it's actually on the softer side, but when it toasts magnificently. Scallion confit going to get brushed onto this Dutch crunch. Sharp provolone for flavor. Regular provolone for texture, melty gooiness.
Wow.
There we go.
There's trousers.
There we go.
Look at that.
This isn't very pretty. This is our confit,
Beg to differ.
but we're gonna stuff that in there. At least I think.
No one
Put
can
that
see
in there.
it.
Some of our Asian pear salad. Pickled dick.
Pickled penis.
Okay. Put that, tuck it in a little bit. Bring that in. That's gonna compact the sandwich.
Look at that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
This is not a cheesesteak. It's my version of a cheesesteak, but it's a great sandwich.
Dude, I was gonna say that it's immediately recognizable as a cheesesteak. Obviously, there's new flavors in
Yeah.
there, but you're hitting all the notes to make it a cheesesteak. I don't care what Philadelphia says. It's such a huge punch and flavor. I think it's also from your pickled chilies. It has an element that I think cheesesteaks are missing, which
Yes.
is acid.
Yes.
Like having that little hit of,
Yes.
of acid in there, it rounds it out and wakes it up. It makes it not so ungodly
Yes,
savory.
yes,
and-
yes.
yeah.
I 100% agree. You know why I said it's not a cheesesteak?
What?
There's no cheese whiz on it. I love cheese whiz.
That was an absolutely extraordinary sandwich. I feel bad calling it level 9 and mine level 10, so let's just call it a draw. I haven't made mine yet, so I don't know, but let's call it a draw for 10 because there's no way I can out sandwich that. I can just go in a different
Appreciate
direction.
it.
Guys, go check out Chef Brian Sal on YouTube. Go check out Mission Sandwich Social in Williamsburg and Brooklyn. And thank you so much for coming through, man. That was
my
really
pleasure.
fun. Now
Thank
I'm going
you.
to see if I can not outdo that, but just do that.
Chicken cheesesteak, Korean Philly, and now Chicago Philly. Do words not mean anything to you?
Words mean plenty to me. Those words mean exactly what they are. Korean Philly, Chicago style Philly. But as I'm saying them, I'm realizing I'm wrong. Anyway, sorry, here's the Chicago Philly. One of the ways in which I'm going to do what I'm calling a bit of white fusion with this cheesesteak is by incorporating some elements of Chicago style beef. Recently I did Chicago style beef from Bear. It's a really fantastic sandwich. I think the only thing missing from it is cheese. The thing that a Philly cheesesteak is missing is pickled peppers, some acid, some heat. So what I'm gonna do is make a giardiniera-ish, because it's not quite a giardiniera. There's gonna be no cauliflower, no carrots. I'm going to instead do some finely diced red and green pepper and some big old chunks of serranos. I'm also gonna add half a scallion and a couple cloves of minced garlic for additional flavor. Coriander seed, crushed red pepper. There's gonna be plenty of heat in here, but there's gonna be a different profile of heat. Dried dill weed, celery seed, fennel seed, and a quarter teaspoon's worth of ground allspice. I'm also gonna add 3 tablespoons of kosher salt, just enough vinegar to almost cover them, enough vegetable oil to cover them the rest of the way. Give that a little mixy-poo, let it hang out in the fridge for at least 3 days, and up to, I'd say, 2 weeks, unless you jar or can them. All right, now for the beef. It's an all caps beef with an exclamation point, because this is a prime bone-in ribeye. Bone-in, you say? I don't remember there being any bones in a Philly cheesesteak. You're absolutely right, which is why we're gonna remove the bone, but still put it to wonderfully good use. If you start here, you can run into trouble with these bones. They get wider as you go, so you'll start slicing bones. So I like to start with these guys, get around them. Voila. We're hanging on to these, because we're gonna be using this to make some broth. Now for the ribeye, we're just doing a dry brine. Pretty generous sprinkling of salt on every facet. Not every day that you get prime beef in a cheesesteak, outside of Las Vegas, that is. God, I hate Vegas. This guy's headed into the fridge uncovered for up to 3-4 days. I'm gonna do 2. All right, here's our roast. It has spent 2 days in the fridge uncovered. You can see it's dried out on the outside. It's gonna give us a better crust. This guy's headed into a 275, 300 degree Fahrenheit oven until it reaches an internal temp of 105, 110. Probably gonna come up at least 15 degrees in post, so it's still gonna be nice and medium rare. Even if it were undercooked, that's fine because we're gonna give it a secondary cook. So I'm gonna let this cool at room temperature for an hour or two, and then I'm gonna fridge it until it's completely cooled before slicing it. Nicely rare, very tender, pulls right apart. That's gonna be perfect. There you have it, an absolute mountain of unbelievably high quality, beautifully cooked, and ultra tender beef. So tender, in fact, that I can just, All right, so we are, of course, gonna make our own cheese. Obviously. I am going to use sodium citrate to stabilize a cheese product, in other words, make a fancy homemade American cheese. So I have here 3/4 of an ounce of sodium citrate. This is going to be enough to treat 6 ounces of milk against 18 ounces of cheese. For cheese, I'm gonna use mostly Monterey Jack because it's an excellent melter, has a nice neutral flavor. As a nod to the provolone so often used in the Philly cheesesteak diaspora, I'm going to add a little bit of extra sharp provolone, just enough to give it a nice punch. And then to make up the rest of the weight, up to 18 ounces, I have some mild provolone here. It is deli sliced, which is absolutely fine. I'm gonna mix it up and give it a taste because that sharp provolone is so strong. No, it's perfect. I feel like this is gonna be a white American cheese that pays tribute to provolone in the same way that normal American cheese pays tribute to cheddar. All right, let's add our sodium citrate to the milk. And then while it's just bare simmering, I'm gonna add all the cheese. It'll start looking pretty chunky, but that's because the cheese just isn't melted yet. We just gotta keep heating it. Yeah, the stuff on the bottom, you can see it's super smooth and creamy. And we're just gonna pour it right onto the sheet. And we don't want it too thick because it's gonna have a harder time melting. Multiple thin slices are going to do much better. All right, that's the best I'm gonna do because it's starting to seize up. It's a little thick, but that's cool. We're gonna be subjecting it to plenty of heat, so it's gonna have ample opportunity to melt. It's super mild, but it's got that provolone tang to it. It's got the provolone funk, but very background. Perfect, because I'm not super crazy about just straight up provolone on my cheesesteak. Sometimes I'll do a mix of American and provolone. That's pretty much what this is. So it is my perfect fantasy. All right, to make our hoagie bread, we need to first start with a pre-ferment. We need 250 grams bread flour, 1.5 teaspoons of yeast, 1.5 cups or about 350 milliliters of water. Wrap this guy tightly with plastic wrap, and ideally you want to let this go at room temperature overnight. I'm going to do 4 hours just because, well, it's Friday. I have tomorrow to finish this, and then I'm going to Atlanta to shoot with Alton Brown.
More blood, please.
Following you. Here we go. Hang up.
Not to name drop, but I'm running low on time. I have here 644 grams of semolina flour, married to 188 grams of bread flour, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of instant yeast. Whisk them together and make sure that they're nice and homogeneous. 1 lightly beaten egg, room temperature, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, and 1.5 cups of room temperature water. And of course, our big, bubbly, beautiful pre-ferment. Look at that. It's definitely gonna have some nice flavor development even after 4 hours. And we're gonna knead this guy until it passes the window pane test. All right, about 10 minutes later, the dough is looking very smooth and elastic and bouncy because it's quite sticky. You just keep it moving and stretch it into a nice taut ball. That's another way of knowing whether or not it's ready. I'm able to stretch it like this without it tearing. This is gonna take about an hour. We wanna give it a solid proof and we want it to pretty much double in size. All right, dough has doubled in size, at least. Let's turn it out, punch it down a little bit. We gotta get these air bubbles out of here. So this will be into 4 pieces, 225. What I wanna do today is shape it by stretching it. I have some sheet trays prepped with semolina flour. Gently draping this over top, this oiled plastic wrap. All right, those will be a little experimental because I'm not sure how well that's gonna work. All right, this one, I'm gonna try the roll-out method. And I'll roll it up very, very tight. All right, so we get a smoother exterior from that and a pretty well-closed seam. Place that seam side down. I guess I kind of liked that actually. It ends up giving a much smoother exterior. Once again, under oily plastic wrap, not tucking anything underneath. Now these suckers are gonna rise at room temperature for probably an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow. They didn't puff up as much as I anticipated, but they sprang back, but not all the way when poked. So that means they're ready to go. You really want it as smooth as possible so you don't end up with streaks of egg whites on your loaf. While they're still wet, you don't want these to dry before absolutely attacking them with sesame seeds. I really liked sesame seeds on the bread from Danny and Kooks. Those are headed into a 450 Fahrenheit oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until they're gorgeous. Well, for all their apparent flaws, these came out looking pretty good. Oh man, those look great. Namely, this guy and this guy have got two really strong possibilities.
So one of the things I'm doing with this sandwich is par cooking my beef and then finishing cooking it in a braising liquid, just like a Chicago style beef. This is gonna make for a really juicy, really flavorful, beefy cheesesteak. And for that, I need a really flavorful braising liquid. So I'm gonna make a quick pressure cooker stock out of those ribs that we saved from the roast. And I've got a couple onions. Plus, I have a little bit of our leftover shaved skirt steak. That's just gonna bolster things up a little bit more. Not gonna need much, so I'm only going to fill this so that all the stuff is covered. 2 hours even. Let's get. All right, moment of truth. Time to put together our level 10 Philly cheesesteak. Earlier, I simmered the stock with a bunch of aromatics and root vegetables. It came out really bony, like bone brothy, which can be a little off-putting, but it was a beautiful beef flavor. So adding all these vegetables is gonna add some sweetness and some balance to the whole situation. I simmered it for an hour and a half or so until it was reduced by about a third. That's gonna make for a much more flavorful liquid. And of course, I sliced up my American-style provolone cheese. It's a little thick and the slices are a little undersized, but that's gonna be just fine. All right, it is time also to see how our bread came out. I left it out uncovered overnight, which, so long as you don't slice into the bread, is a pretty good way to store it, at least for one night. Yeah, nice fluffy open crumb. Uh-oh, it's splitting. Oh, there's a hole in this one. Okay, well this is our practice loaf. Can almost get it open, but it's torn in the back. So, okay. I think by leaving it out and letting it kind of stale like that, I think that's what screwed me. I feel a little less legit making a sandwich that you don't close like a book, but it sure is gonna make my life easier, so. I'm also going to toast with a bit of Chef Brian's dry-aged scallion-infused beef tallow. Is it immoral for me to use another chef's creation in my level 10 sandwich? Yes. Is it borderline cowardly? Yes. Is it shameful? Yes. I'm gonna throw these guys in a 375 Fahrenheit oven until they're lightly brown, just lightly brown. We don't want this to get too toasty, too rigid. Meanwhile, I have some oil preheating. I wanna get it smoking. Right next to it, I have the braising liquid that is just sub-boiling. 180 degrees is a gentle simmer or a poaching temperature, and that's right where we want to live so we don't overcook anything. Now this is pretty rare, so I'm just going to give it a quick sear. I'm not going to cook it all the way through, not by a long shot, and then put it straight in the liquid, drench it a little bit, and it's going to cook so gently it's not going to dry out or get tough or anything. I'm going to start by front-loading it with cheese. This is going to be a lot of cheese. You know what, I'm gonna front load the giardiniera too. I think it'll be a little difficult to keep on top once I have a pile going. There we go. Let's see if I can pile this stuff on here. All right, that's a lot of beef, but I do want a little bit in there to help melt cheese, all that good stuff. Oh, it's holding up really nicely. You know, actually, I kind of want to cut it in half now. All right, that's gonna be hard to wrap now that it's in half, but come on, work with me. This is what we've been training for. Okay, boyo. Stop saying boyo, you're not Irish. Okay, that looks pretty awesome. Let's see if I can't get a decent cross-section of this sucker. Here we go, come on, give me a good one. Oh, no cheese stretch. How's that possible? Look at that, the bread is not soggy at all. You can see it has held up remarkably well considering what a wet sandwich this is. Oh! God, it's good. The cheese is just right. It's got just that little hint of provolone flavor without being too overbearing. God, that giardiniera is so good. It brings so much heat and flavor, more importantly, brings acid. The beef is so tender, so juicy, so flavorful. It is, after all, prime, slow roasted, seared, and beef stock braised. It's not gonna not taste good. Man, I've had a lot of cheesesteaks over the past 4 days, and this is exemplary. It's singularly delicious. Like, this is such a fantastic mashup of a Philly cheesesteak and a Chicago beef. But at the end of the day, it's not really a Philly cheesesteak. It's more of a Chicago beef with cheese on it, which is a Philly cheesesteak with giardiniera. It's not true enough to its roots. There's almost too much flavor. It's not beefy flavored enough. It's balanced, it's beautiful, it's wonderful as a sandwich. So is this a cheesesteak? I leave that up to you. But it is a fantastic sandwich. I don't know if I can call it a level 10 cheesesteak just because it's strayed a little bit far from Philly, but it's my level 10 cheesesteak. And that's really what matters at the end of the day. So what did we learn today? It can be fun and even healthy to stretch concepts, but if you push them too far, you'll end up snapping something in your groin and being on bed rest for 9 months. Because that's what happened with level 10. A perfectly serviceable sandwich that had no right being called a Philly cheesesteak. But I hope you picked up some new tips and tricks, especially that one with the mandolin and the frozen beef, because that made the closest at-home equivalent to a cheesesteak, a real Philly cheesesteak that I've ever had. So I hope you try that out. More than anything, I hope you make yourself a Philly cheesesteak. Unless you live in Philly, in which case, just go to D'Alessandro's, tell them Babish sent you. They'll have no idea what you're talking about. Thanks again to Cook Unity for sponsoring this episode. They have hundreds of dishes to choose from with options for every dietary preference like vegan, keto, or low sodium. Lately, I've been ordering the Mission-style chicken burrito by Chef Jose Garces and the pork katsu by Sergio Tominaga. They also have a new fitness fuel menu where you can choose from a number of meals for functional nutrition. The variety and convenience of Cook Unity can't be beat, and the meals are all delivered in compostable, recyclable, or reusable packaging. Head to the link in the description now to try Cook Unity and get 50% off your first order of chef-made meals delivered fresh to your door. Use code Babish and try it out.